let's begin by telling you that the political crisis in Rivers State may have finally come to a head following the warning issued to Governor Siminalayi Fubara by the state chairman of the All Progressives Congress to make a choice between resigning his office already or face certain impeachment. Tony Okocha was speaking at a news briefing in Port Harcourt on Monday, where he described Fubara's invitation of pro-Wike members of the Rivers State House of Assembly to a meeting as a Greek gift. A letter dated March 9 and signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Dr. Tami Danagogo, had been addressed to Speaker Martin Amewule, stating that the governor had received the Supreme Court judgment and was ready to meet with the legislators to iron out a means for implementing it. The lawmakers turned down the invitation. Meanwhile, the rival faction of the Rivers State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has hit back at Tony Okocha for calling for the resignation or impeachment of Governor Siminalayi Fubara. The rival APC faction loyal to Rotimi Amechi pulled the rug off the feet of Okocha, saying the APC Executive Committee he is standing on has since been nullified for conducting the election against a court order. Tony Okocha accused Governor Fubara of conducting local government elections contrary to federal high court order, but Darlington Mauju, publicity secretary of the Emeka Beke-led APC, elected EXCO, reminded Okocha that he is also contravening the law. He said Okocha's caretaker committee was nullified by the courts, but Okocha has held on to office without a valid court counter order. Mauju added that the High Court in Port Harcourt ordered the APC not to hold the Congress that brought Tony Okocha to office. Still, they went ahead and held the Congress, with Okocha emerging as state chairman in rivalry to a court-recognized state executive council. Earlier, we were joined by Evans Ufeli, a lawyer and public affairs commentator from Atlanta, USA, and he gave us his perspective.
Who have consistently made sure that the state is ungovernable because you have personal difference with the governor, and because the state house of assembly members were, they are loyal to Wike. So they too, they find themselves in that cup where they are not acting based on the direction, or so it seems, of Wike, and that's where the problem is coming from. Because if you look at the lawmakers since they were elected, they've not really enjoyed that legislative position and entrench themselves and learn and expand, make laws for the good governance of that state. Both them and the people are in constant battle with the governor and the rest of that. So I think Wike should allow that state to grow. He has been a governor, he's out of the place. He should allow the current governor to take.
In the meantime, a former governor of Rivers State, Rufus Ada George, has urged warring sides in the ongoing Rivers political crisis to embrace dialogue in the best interest of the state. His advice follows the Supreme Court's ruling on the ongoing political crisis in the state. Speaking to newsmen in Port Harcourt, George cautioned against inflammatory remarks, threats, and ultimatums that could escalate tensions. He appealed to all political actors to put the state's welfare above personal or political interests. He warned that political disputes, if not properly handled, could have far-reaching consequences. He argued that there are still rooms for humane decisions that can mitigate the adverse effects of the Supreme Court ruling. Well, joining us now for some insights into everything happening in Rivers State, we have Peter Ame, who is a public affairs analyst or commentator. Thank you so much, Mr. Peter Ame, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I had a discussion about this issue with a guest earlier, and he condemned the statement credited to the Rivers State APC that's the APC chairman anyway, about the fact that he needs to resign or he should be impeached. Now, what is your view on that particular call?
This is an undemocratic call because even the state chairman of the APC has acted in contravention to the court pronouncement on his seat. Because what I'm worried about mostly is that people are now using the court as a means to be able overturn the popular view of the electorate. People are now looking for a way to say the strong man will win through. That's why the popular saying "go to court," and those who have the court we tell you to go to court, because when you go you can't defend them, and when they go they will defeat you. So the fact is that the APC chairman is not in the House of Assembly. His party does not have majority in the House of Assembly. So on what basis is it that is which of the package is he using to call for impeachment? The impeachment proceeding that doesn't even commence, and there's a process. You still have to have the chief judge of the state to set up panel to look at how this panel will review whatever impeachment notice that has been brought before the sitting governor, and then they also analyze it and come to a conclusion. Because if you don't do that, you have a stalemate, because the state has been put on in a confused state because of people who want to be able to show their power. I've said this many million times, and I'll keep on repeating it, because the fact what we have in most of these states, why these people are grandstanding, and why you see people moving towards the interest of powerful personalities within the state, is because they have never won election. The elections has always been based on the fact that they rode on the application of applying apparatus of state authority, using state authority, using police, using other means to be able to get into power. Because if people know they are popular, if you know you want to defect, and you know the law, section 109, section 1G, clearly state that your seat will be declared vacant, you should be ready to face another election, and not to come up, look for a way to try to remove a governor that has been that was already in place for the interest of the people. See Peter, what Wike is doing. There's nothing.
Yeah, Peter, of course, there are talks around town in Rivers State that there's actually no impeachment, so to speak, and there are no facts to actually validate that. But then I'd like to ask you, does it seem as though the judiciary has become a willing tool in the hands of manipulators over the situation in Rivers State?
No, that's the truth, because this case that was used to validate the authority of the status of 27 lawmakers, this case that was used to remove the local government chairman, this case that was used to stop the funding accrued to the state federation from the federation account to the local government, is a case that started even before the defection of the lawmakers. Because the case that is meant to deal with the issue of the lawmaker is still at the Court of Appeal. And that in that case, this 27 lawmaker had already filed an affidavit claiming that they have decamped. The court must know what to do and when to do it. If there are multiple cases regarding a particular case within a state, and taking decision on one will affect other cases, why didn't the court follow the advice of the president of the Court of Appeal and consolidate all these cases and take them in one day, so that we will know whether the defection of this lawmaker is valid or invalid? Because the law is very clear. Section 109, Section 1 went ahead to make far-reaching pronouncement that they have the authority to withdraw resources meant for the welfare and well-being of workers and masses of Rivers State. It is uncalled for, because apart from political leadership, as stated in Section 7 of the Constitution, that has to do with the governance system and administrative system and finance system of local councils across Nigeria, apart from the political head, there are still administrative head. The bureaucratic process has taken cost to use the finance to help the masses. As I'm talking to you now, the finance of the people has been withheld, and I don't know how the state will survive.
All right, Peter, I know that two wrongs don't make a right, but it's been said that Governor Fubara also violated the Constitution by declaring the seats of the 27 lawmakers vacant due to a supposed defection and for conducting local government election. Do you think that the governor also overdid it in those areas?
I think that there was the far-reaching decisions by the Supreme Court, which they did not even need to dive into the arena of politics. The governor never declared their seat vacant. What the governor make reference to, another public commentator like myself, was the fact that since there was a provision that has said that when a lawmaker decamps, by Section 109, Section 1G, that seat is automatically declared vacant if he moves from a party upon which he was sponsored for an election. So if that had happened and the governors have made an attempt and there's a case before the court to determine whether their decision was right or not, then I don't see where the governor has gone wrong.
Peter,
the Supreme Court even went further.
How sure are you, or what evidence are there to prove that they actually defected?
I've mentioned to you, you can go to, I can look for the affidavit filed by the 27 lawmaker. An affidavit is an oath, a statement on oath saying that we have decamped and we have left the PDP to the APC. Okay. They filed it in court, at Federal High Court, and that defense is before the Court of Appeal today. So forget about video documentary evidence. Our court must go beyond what they are doing today so that they can also help our system to grow. If there are documentary evidence where people are shouting that they have moved from one party to the other, you cannot base defection of a political party based on name being found on register of the party. You are now giving a loophole for party to go into more crisis because people can now decide to be working with another party and their party cannot discipline them because the Supreme Court has now stated clearly that until the name of that member that decamped is found on the register of the party. And this is in party politics. That's what they will call a party, somebody that disobeyed the interest of his party. So you cannot say that this is not anti-party activity. So let's say there's anti-party activity different, but this is a clear case of defection that has been clearly stated in our constitution. And people talk about Wike today that is benefiting from this kind of law, worked with only 7 House of Assembly members after he came to office and decided not to work with those who were loyal to Amechi. He also dissolved the local government council. So we are advising the Supreme Court not to dive into the realm of politics and also look at the law and save our democracy from those who have determined to manipulate the loopholes that exist within the constitutional provisions of our law to be able to undermine the integrity of our system, of our democracy, and of the progress of our people.
Well, the Supreme Court has given its verdict, and I'm not sure there's any going back on it. But then finally, Peter, now the Amerwili Assembly wants the governor to present the state's 2025 budget before it and equally call for the sack of the state's commissioners. Now, the governor has called for a truce, a dialogue, let me just put it that way. Does the Assembly mean well for this administration? And do you think there is a solution to this political crisis?
There are two things in this our democracy. You have every organ has its own responsibility. When you have the lawmakers, the state assembly members, the responsibility given to them in the Constitution is to make laws for the good governance and development of the state and also do oversight function. They do not have executive power to hire and sack. They don't have that. So giving that kind of directive to say they have sacked ministers, commissioners, sack essays is unlawful directive. An unlawful directive is not something that should be obeyed. The governor is the executive governor of the state. He has no power to make laws. His own is to execute laws that have been made. And that is the responsibility to be able to look at the administrative management process and also manage the bureaucracy within the state. So whatever the 27 lawmakers are doing, if they mean well for the state, it is in their best interest for them to meet with a man who have offered an olive branch, that they should sit down and discuss about the issues that are before them, and then look at the amicable way to move the state forward. It shouldn't be about the 27 lawmakers. Neither should it be about the sitting governor of the state. It is about the masses, because without the resources allocated to the state being made available, then the people will be the one to suffer. Okay. Everybody already have wicked to the 7 lawmakers, governors are on side, and they will be able to survive. What happened to the masses of the state? That is what the Supreme Court did not take into consideration when they took their decision.
All right, Peter Ame, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the news.
Thank you very much for having me.
We go on a short break on the news. When we return, Lakurawa terrorists kill 13, raze several villages in a major attack in Kebbi State. We'll tell you more when we return. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. We still stay with politics to tell you that the former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has resigned from the All Progressives Congress and joined the Social Democratic Party. In a statement on Monday, March 10, 2025, El-Rufai said the APC had strayed from its founding ideals and failed to address internal concerns. He played a major role in APC's formation and electoral victories, but now believes the party no longer aligns with his values. El-Rufai highlighted his achievements as a Kaduna governor and called on supporters to join him in the SDP. His defection fuels speculation about his next political move ahead of the 2027 elections. Away from that, we tell you that Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan has approached the Federal High Court seeking an order restraining the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges of the Senate from investigating her. At the day's proceeding, there were arguments about whether the defendants had been served notices or not. But after going through the affidavits of service before the court, Justice Egwatu confirmed service of all processes on all defendants. This led the counsel for the third defendant, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, to pray for an adjournment for all processes to be harmonized. Other counsels supported the move, stressing that this would facilitate an accelerated hearing at the next adjourned date. In his ruling, Justice Egwatu therefore adjourned the matter to March 25, 2025, and ordered that all the relevant processes should be served on parties before the adjourned date. We bring you to southwest of Nigeria to tell you that the reinstated Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, has refuted allegations that he was outside Nigeria when House members served notice for his removal. In an affidavit application filed by his legal counsel, Obasa not only challenges the validity of his removal as Speaker, but also levels accusations of fraudulent conduct against the Deputy Speaker. News Central's Idalani Yomoni has the report.
Filed by his counsel Afolabi Fashanu SAN, the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, claimed he was in Lagos between January 8 and 10, 2025, and that the House of Assembly sitting on January 13, 2025 was unconstitutional. The affidavit alleged that the notice of the meeting was backdated to conceal the unlawful convening and sitting of the House.
Sir, but this matter is expected ought to have been, ended, ought to have ended.
Yeah, it could have been ended because of inflow of new applications and reactions from all council. It's a response to their affidavit. They alleged that at the time the impeachment was done, the Speaker was in the country, and we have to bring evidence that at that time he was in the country, and there was no reason why he should not be served.
Femi Falana, SAN, representing the House of Assembly, and Tayo Oyetibo, SAN, representing Deputy Speaker Mojisola Miranda, have requested additional time to respond to Obasa's claims, which include allegations of fraud against Miranda. Meanwhile, the ongoing debate regarding which council should represent the first defendant, which is the Lagos State Assembly, continues to linger.
I have been briefed. My colleagues in the team have been briefed properly and adequately. And we are carrying out the instructions of our client. It is not the law that the plaintiff will choose lawyers for the defendant. It's not our law.
So that is confirmed that the Speaker Obasa is the one that drafted the.
I haven't said that. The man who is purporting to debrief us says that he has been directed. So he could not have directed himself. Thank you.
So, sir, is it right to say that you are now representing the Lagos State Assembly and
no, in principle, I am, but the council has not been changed. The change of council has not been done officially.
So you are coming as incoming council?
I'm coming as incoming to the Lagos State House of Assembly. Obasa is the claimant.
He's the claimant. So is it right to also say that Obasa is the one that employed your services? Sir?
No. My services are being employed by Lagos State Assembly.
It's the same
Lagos State. If they are the same, Obasa will not have sued Lagos State House of Assembly at the initial stage. If they are the same entities, are you with me? Lagos State House of Assembly is a juristic person on its own. Obasa is a juristic person on its own. Obasa came to court, sued the Lagos State House of Assembly and now sue Miranda. The Lagos State House of Assembly, in their wisdom, I don't know what they did, decided to change their counsel, which they have a right to do.
Justice Yetunde Pihero has granted an adjournment until March 17th to allow the hearing of all applications, including the substantive action, in the interest of justice. In Lagos 4 News Central, Igbalani Omoni.
Now, residents of Ikosi Ketu in Lagos have taken their grievances to the State House of Assembly, protesting what they describe as illegal demolitions of their homes. You may recall that in February, these residents had pleaded with the government to intervene and stop the demolitions. Now, with reports that more buildings could be affected, they are demanding urgent action. Our correspondent, Bernard Akede, has the latest.
With placards in their hands and voices raised, the affected residents of Ikosi Ketu stormed the Lagos State House of Assembly, desperate for government intervention. Their fears were ignited by rumors that bulldozers would soon return to demolish more homes.
They engaged us with a meeting with the Oba. So he said in his own statement that he's not ready to destroy anybody's house. Apparently some houses are already being destroyed already. So we told him that if it is the ratification you want, kindly let's negotiate it out. So at that point, he said no problem, that he had a meeting with the area commander. So after we went there, he discussed with the area commander, and when we got back, the Obalukosi did not attend to us again. But instead, we started seeing some set of people in our environment taking pictures of and threatening us for a continuous demolition process.
The controversy began in February when several buildings were suddenly marked for demolition. Residents say they had little warning before the destructions began. They claim the Onikosi of Ikosi, the community's traditional ruler, is behind the exercise.
We woke up by 6 o'clock on 3 of February. We saw many police and people and Kabiyesi's son that they are starting to demolish our house. So they operate 3, 4, 5. So when it is on the 5, we were forced to call on Unveils Said, which is governor to govern our constituency. Unveils Said came to come and stop the demolition.
News Central had previously attempted to get a response from the Onikosi, but there has been no official statement. Their protest eventually caught the attention of a government representative who assured them that their complaints will be formally processed. The residents were guided on the proper channel to present their petition, a process they immediately began.
Wọ́n ọ̀dẹ̀ fún wa ní notice kan tó dé, èmi ò sí ẹ̀sìn lé mi ṣiṣẹ́ ìrànṣẹ́ lọ. Ìgbà tí mo dé mo ti bá létọ́ ti condemn lé wa lọ. Ó pọ́n ayédèní mi ọkọ mi wà bí ó kù 2 weeks. Tí máa bímọ lọkọ mi jáde láyé ìta là ń sùn.
Ẹ ṣàánú mi o, ìgbà tí mo kó débẹ̀ yẹn mi pẹ̀lú Ọbọ̀lájì jọ ń ṣeré o, kò séèyàn ń bẹ̀, igbó ni o. Igbó ni nínú ra ni o. Pákó ni máa ń tẹ́lẹ̀ fi máa ń roko báyìí o. Mi à lè jókòó síta, ó dìgbà tí mo wá lè jókòó síta pé kí n tẹ̀ ní síta lálẹ́ kí n sùn. Ni wọ́n sọ pé wọ́n máa tún bẹ̀ ta o.
For now, all the residents can do is wait, hoping that their voices will be heard and that the government will act before more homes are lost. As the demolition controversy unfolds, affected families remain in limbo, unsure of what comes next. Their plea is simple: justice and a place to call home. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
Still in Lagos, one of the electricity distribution companies in the state has blamed recent disruptions on electricity supply to faulty transmission lines supplying power to the state. The Eco Electricity Distribution Company on Monday attributed the problems to the 330 kilovolt transmission lines supplying power to the region. A statement signed by the company explained that the reduced power allocation from the Transmission Company of Nigeria has led to load shedding across its network. EKEDC, however, assured its customers that efforts are underway to restore normal supply in collaboration with TCN and other stakeholders. The statement, however, did not specify a timeline for full restoration. Now we take you to the northwestern part of Nigeria, Kebbi State to be precise, where suspected Lakurawa terrorists have attacked the Benin Dede village, killing 13 people in what appeared to be a reprisal to the killing of their leader, Megemo. by a combined security force in Kebbi. The assailants set at least 7 villages on fire near Benin Dede, all within the Arawa local government area of Kebbi State. An eyewitness explained that the attackers spared only one village, which was guarded by the army. Recall that combined security forces with the support of Kebbi State Governor Nasir Idris recently killed the group's kingpin, Makemation, as part of ongoing efforts to curb the activities of armed groups in the northwest states. Many thanks for staying with us. Earlier on, we told you that Lakurawa terrorist organization or body attacked about 7 villages in Kebbi State, where about 7 villages were ransacked in a reprisal attack. Now we have Emmanuel Bagudu, who has been monitoring the situation in the northwestern part of Nigeria, and he will be bringing us updates on it. Emmanuel, good evening to you. I'd like you to just tell us what the situation is in those villages where the Lakurawa terrorist sect attacked. Okay, so I think we may need to move on. Maybe we'll be able to bring Emmanuel back, hopefully if the network is favorable, to have him give us that update. But in other news, Muslim lawyers in Nigeria have dismissed the recent controversy surrounding the establishment of Sharia panels in Nigeria's southwestern states and other parts of the country. Speaking in the nation's capital, Abuja, they say that the establishment of Sharia panels in the regions affected in the country, notably the southwestern part of Nigeria, is a legitimate exercise of citizens' constitutional rights as provided in sections 37 and 38 of the Nigerian Constitution. They say the panels have been an effective means of handling family disputes among Muslims for over 2 decades.
Under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999, Section 37, 38, 39, and Section 40 talks about Islamic human rights of each citizens of Nigeria. So for a Muslim, as a Sharia personal law, divorce, marriage, custody, and whatever is his personal right. So he doesn't need any consent from anybody to introduce that right, because as a Nigerian, he has that right to have a personal life as a Muslim wherever he finds himself in the country.
The call to action again is for us, the government of those states, to see to the fact that they are not helping their state if they do not provide institutions that need to take care of problems of Muslim family. So they have a duty, and it's a fundamental human right under Section 37, right to family life. So if a government of any state has not made provision for where Muslims will go to solve their family problem, then they are offending the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic.
I think what we need to do is to enlighten people more about the positive things that are surrounding it, so that they will embrace it without being forced to embrace it.
Now, Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has unveiled the first AI-themed feature film in Africa called Makemation. The governor who unveiled the film in Marina, Lagos, commended the brain behind the film, Toyosi Akerele-Ogunsiji, for the growth of the creative industry, and believes that fostering creativity and innovation is crucial for the development of Lagos State. At the unveiling, producer Akerele-Ogunsiji emphasized that the film delves into critical themes such as STEM education, digital skills, financial literacy, and gender equality.
This is the industry, the creative industry. Not only is it from the word creative, it's the most innovative industry. It's the most forward-looking industry. It's one of the industries that employs the largest number of people. Now, we Makemation, bringing technology as a front as a strong enabler of that creative industry, I think is a game changer for us. I think it's a game changer for us. I think it's just one way for us to be able to leapfrog and catch up with the other parts of the developed world. The Bollywood, the Nollywood, the big guys have taken over, they've led us. But with the likes of Makemation, with the likes of what AI can do and what we're pushing up on, we will do what we call a leapfrog and we'll probably be at the same pedestal. So we'll not have any excuse again. You know,
the future is here. And when we describe Makemation as Africa's first feature film on artificial intelligence, we don't define it because it was made with AI. We define it because at the very epicenter of the heart and soul of the themes and plots of this film is artificial intelligence, because we know that as Africans and as Lagosians and as Nigerians, we're worried about how AI is going to eliminate the roles of human beings and how it's going to take our jobs. What we've done with Makemation is a convergence of live action and generative AI coming together to become what we call artificial superintelligence, meaning that robots and AI are still going to depend on human beings to thrive.
French Justice Minister Gérald Darmanin has praised the bilateral judicial cooperation with Morocco, saying the country's efficiency is a sign of friendship and professionalism. In a press statement following a meeting with his Moroccan counterpart, Abdelatif Ouahbi, in Rabat on Monday, Darmanin, who has been on a working visit to Morocco since Sunday, specifically highlighted the recent arrest in Marrakesh of dangerous suspects involved in the escape of a French drug lord, Mohamed Amra, in France. Darmanin said that he hopes that the individuals arrested by Moroccan authorities will be extradited to France in the coming days to face justice. For his part, Abdelatif Ouahbi said that the meeting had addressed a wide range of issues, including the exchange of individuals wanted for crimes and the revision of agreements. Now we bring you to this. Renowned South African playwright, actor and director Athol Fugard has died at the age of 92. Fugard, whose portrayals of intimate relationships burdened by oppressive racial separatism exposed the cruel psychological torment of apartheid to an international audience, he died on Saturday night at his home in Stellenbosch, near Cape Town. His wife, Paula Fourie, confirmed his death after a cardiac event. Over a long and productive career, Fugard was both propelled and fueled by the bond he felt with his homeland. For decades, he was considered subversive by the government, at times through his productions, and his works with their integrated casts were considered illegal, and his co-workers in the theatre were said to have been jailed. Now, we take it to Niger Republic, a country that's set to be experiencing an unprecedented shortage of super petrol, the most widely used fuel in the country. Petrol stations are either closed or have long queues, leaving residents struggling to find fuel. In Niamey, the capital, people are frustrated and unsure of the cause of the shortage. The shortage is affecting not only the capital but also inland towns where petrol is scarce. Residents are calling for a solution to the crisis, which is disrupting their daily lives.
Station da muka tsaya ba mu nan ga samun mai kuma muna so mu je mu yi ayyukan mu saboda mu masu aiki hannu ne in ba mai ba komai yana tsaya to ku ga azumi kuma ga zahi mutane kan gaskiya suna san matsala a cikin injinin su saura bisa moto saura bisa mota saura sun gaggare motunan su saboda babu isan sikin shine yana da yanzu nake gani kamar da yanzu.
Outside of the African continent, we'll tell you that President Volodymyr Zelensky landed in Saudi Arabia on Monday to meet Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. This comes a day before talks between Ukrainian and U.S. officials that Washington expects to deliver substantial progress towards ending the war with Russia. The United States, once Ukraine's main ally, has appended its wartime policies in its stated pursuit of a rapid end to the fighting, engaging directly with Moscow while stopping military assistance and intelligence sharing with Kyiv. Grappling with the new approach in the White House, Ukraine has pushed for a pragmatic relations after a disastrous Oval Office encounter between Zelensky and the U.S. Zelensky is hoping to have a fruitful engagement with the Saudi Crown Prince. Let's now tell you that former central bank Mark Carney claimed a landslide victory on Sunday to lead Canada's Liberal Party and become its next prime minister. This sets him for a clash with the Trump administration, and Liberal Party members bet on Carney as the man best placed to take on U.S. President Donald Trump, who has threatened annexation as well as launched a trade war in punishing tariffs on the longtime ally. Liberal sources say Carney will soon call for a general election, and Carney said in his acceptance speech late on Sunday that the Americans want their resources, water, land, and their country, and that they will destroy their way of life if they succeed. Carney, who has no political experience, is normally more reserved than Trudeau, who often had a combative relationship with Trump. Syria's interim president, Ahmed al-Shara, has vowed to hold accountable anyone involved in the recent mass killings of civilians in the country's coastal regions. This statement comes after reports of violence in the Alawite heartland, which has left nearly 1,000 people dead since March 6. The violence, described as ethnic cleansing by the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, has targeted the Alawite minority in the Mediterranean coastal provinces of Latakia and Tartus. The escalating clashes between new security forces and loyalists of the former Assad regime have raised international concerns, with multiple governments condemning the violence. Shara announced the formation of an independent committee to investigate the killings and hold those responsible accountable. The situation remains dire, with no signs of de-escalation as Syria grapples with deepening humanitarian crisis.
نؤكد أننا سنحاسب بكل حزم ودون تهاون كل من تورط في دماء المدنيين أو أساء إلى أهلنا ومن تجاوز صلاحيات الدولة أو استغل السلطة لتحقيق مأربه الخاص. فلن يكون هناك أي شخص فوق القانون، وكل من تلوثت يداه بدماء السوريين سيواجه العدالة عاجلا غير آجل. وبناء على ما سبق فإننا قد أعلنا عن تشكيل لجنة لتقصي الحقائق للنظر والتحقيق في أحداث الساحل وتقديم المتورطين إلى العدالة وكشف الحقائق أمام الشعب السوري ليعلم الجميع من المسؤول عن هذه الفتن والمخططات. كما سنعلن عن تشكيل لجنة عليا للحفاظ على السلم الأهلي، وستكون مكلفة من قبل رئاسة الجمهورية بالتواصل المباشر مع الأهالي في الساحل السوري للاستماع إليهم وتقديم الدعم اللازم بما يضمن حماية أمنهم واستقرارهم ويعزز الوحدة.
We talk business now. The Securities and Exchange Commission has cautioned the public against dealing with MyShare, operating as UYG Multitrade Limited, labeling it an illegal capital market operator. SEC stated that the firm falsely presents itself as an investment advisor fund manager, despite lacking registration. Investors are urged to avoid transactions with the entity to prevent fraud and financial loss. The Commission reiterated that engaging with unregistered and unregulated firms in Nigeria's capital market poses serious risks, emphasizing the importance of verifying investment platforms before committing funds. Last week, Group Chairman of the NGX Group, Dr. Omar Kwenraga, said he looks forward to the NGX market cap hitting 100 trillion naira this year. Earlier today on Business Edge with Perpetual Fasimi Peter, she asked Tajuddin Ibrahim, Director of Research and Strategy at Chapel Hill Denham Securities, what impact could NNPCL's planned listing contribute to the NGX's outlook?
Listing is positive, and it is something that, will materialize as soon as possible. If it does not materialize this year, I think we should expect it to materialize next year. When NNPC, a giant in the oil and gas space, gets listed on the exchange, it will surely bring higher market capitalization and further lift the market cap towards the 100 trillion naira target of the chairman of the NGX board. So I see it as a positive thing. If it does not happen this year, I think next year looks like it.
In sports, Benin coach Gernot Rohr has announced his 25-man squad for the upcoming 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Zimbabwe, South Africa and Nigeria. The Squirrels face Zimbabwe in Durban on March 21 before hosting South Africa in Abidjan on March 25 as their home stadiums remain banned by CAF. Raw made a bold call by dropping former Ligue defender Olivier Verdon for disciplinary reasons, citing issues of communication and respect. In his place, 19-year-old Atalanta prospect Candace Fiolbe receives his first call-up, while veteran defender Brandon Agonon returns after a year. Meanwhile, striker Toyosi Akerele-Ogunsiji and centre-back Cedric Ontonji miss out due to injury. Benin are currently third in Group C and remain hopeful of securing a historic World Cup spot. We'll turn our attention to the Premier League to tell you that Nottingham Forest have lost their appeal against a $968,000 fine over a social media post criticizing Premier League match official Stuart Atwell. The post, made after a 2-0 defeat to Everton last April, alleged bias, claiming Atwell supported relegation rivals Luton. The Football Association deemed it an egregious attack on referees. A regulatory commission issued the fine in October, but Forest argued it was excessive. However, an appeal board upheld the punishment on Monday, also ordering the post's removal. Forest avoided relegation last season, while Luton went down. This season, Forest sit third in the Premier League, vying for a Champions League spot. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's look at our major stories again. All Progressives Congress have told Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara to resign or be impeached. Black Rawa terrorists have killed 13 and burnt 7 villages in a latest Kebbi attack. We also told you that Morocco and France have signed a joint agreement to tackle terrorism and organized crime. Or you can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on your screen. And don't forget to follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. Do also watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Likon Onobanjo.